Unsyndicated presents Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian.
Hey, what is up? He's Shep.
Hey, good job. Good job yesterday, man. I mean, way to go. Seriously. I mean, the Woodward Sports, what you and Neil did was fantastic.
Gosh, that's nice.
84,000 people joined you during the watch party. That was pretty awesome.
That's crazy. Isn't that terrible? It's crazy how
that's impressive, dude. That's really impressive. So way to go. Congrats.
Hey, you know what? Total team effort. And cheesy radio segue, total team effort by the Lions last night. What a masterclass. And Shep, I just don't know what we're going to do losing AG. I really don't. And he whose name I dare not mention, I don't know how this team's gonna cope, Shep. I just don't.
Sean, I think Kelvin Shepard, I mean, he'll be, if he's not already, quickly on people's radar after what happened last night. I'm convinced of that. I mean, people will look at that and say, how did you do that against the sixth best scoring offense in the National Football League, against an early MVP candidate? People can say what they want about Baker Mayfield, like, oh my God, he was inaccurate and he wasn't very good. Bullshit, man. I mean, he's been good all year long. He was really good last year. Stop trying to poke holes. Just give him credit, okay? So he's not tall. He's not Drew Bledsoe. What difference does it make? You know what I mean? So
yep.
I thought what Kelvin Shepard did with really the entire group, right, was fantastic, so admirable, and really invokes even more confidence, I think, in Lions fans. Don't you?
100%. Shep, I'm telling you, and I confessed this morning, okay? And I don't know if you were the same way. And if you weren't, call me out, all right? There were guys running across the screen on my television last night, and I looked at my kid and I go, I have no idea who that is. I have no idea who that is. And I have no idea who that is. And it's funny because you and I were just having a conversation about the direct opposite. We won't share what the details of that conversation was, but legitimately Hewlett? Okay, let's go. I mean, that's what it was last night, you know?
Yeah, it's like Harper. I remember Ron Harper, but he played in the NBA. What's going on here?
Right.
Roman Harper, but he played for New Orleans back in the early 2000s. I don't know who these people are. But you know what? I mean, it's so much credit for the guys up front, like Derek Barnes. Aleem McNeil made a big difference. Aiden Hutchinson with pressures. I think there were 5 pressures by him. And Sean, you and I have talked about this before. Frank Ragnow is my favorite player.
Mm-hmm.
Now that he's gone, I was looking for a new one. The easy thing is Amon-Ra St. Brown or Jahmyr Gibbs or Penei Sewell maybe, or Aiden Hutchinson. Mine's Jack Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
They said during the broadcast last night, you were working, so hats off to you. They were talking about like he's one of the best linebackers in the entire league. And he's becoming that, don't you think?
Oh, 100%.
All the people who said they didn't want him, and I'm not one of them, by the way. I love the pick. All the people who said they didn't want him, now they're like, man, I'm really glad we got him, because he's your and my, and we covered this guy, Chris Spielman. That's what he is.
Shep, you know the funny thing about it, there were still people as recent as a couple months ago that were taking shots at that guy. How after last year, when it was legitimately trial by fire and you had to hand him the keys last year and he performed so admirably, I don't know how people could do it. Now I love whoever can, the Legion of whom. Austin said the Legion of whom, as the internet told me, the Legion of whom. That's what it was. And by the way, Monty is terrible and needs to be told he's terrible. I need chip on his shoulder, David Montgomery. I do. I want that guy who said at the beginning of the year, hey man, I don't feel like I'm getting enough love and everything. I want that angry chip on the shoulder guy. We need him. I know it wasn't his night, but that's been our running bit in the morning, Shep. It's just every time somebody says David Montgomery, boo, hiss, boo, he's bad, cut him, because I want that angry guy. And eventually they're going to have to do it. But Shep, you nailed it. Listen, I like Baker. You like Baker. A lot of people like Baker. They made his life miserable last night. And that, how many times do we talk about it? You know, obviously a secondary is important. Make no mistake about that. but getting to the quarterback helps you out in the defensive backfield every single snap, man. If you're making his life miserable, that's as good as having a shutdown back there. It just is.
Yeah, 100%. And I can't help but wonder how much Ali McNeil really was a part of that, Sean. I mean, I get that he's not your prototypical quarterback passing or pass rushing type of guy, but what he was able to do last night in batting down at least a couple of passes, Derek Barnes doing the same thing, but just feeling the pressure. You and I have talked to a lot of quarterbacks in our days, and they'll tell you that the pressure up the middle is the worst pressure because then you can't step up into anything. And I think there's an electricity there. I'm sorry, when Tyrus Wheat is leading your team in sacks in a game, 1.5, then they got him off Dallas's practice squad. There's something to be said for that. It's not just Tyrus Wheat; it's some of the other guys who are helping him get home. So that was pretty awesome. Yeah, I'm really happy for him, man. I mean, 5-2, considering what they've lost. They played the first 6 games without Ali McNeil, an elite defensive tackle. They played 2 games without Taylor Decker and went 1-1. And then they just beat a really good Tampa team with all starters in the defensive backfield out. That's pretty impressive. And now after the bye week, you're going to get healthy and you would expect them. I don't expect them to win the rest of the games, but they're going to look like the Lions that we expected, I think.
Shep, you know what it comes back to, and I'm part of the problem. I openly admit it because I love the dumb schedule game, and every time I do the dumb schedule game, I make the point to say this is futile. It's a waste of my time. I'm an addict, and I can't stop. Some people want to stop, Shep. I don't want to stop. I just inject that into my veins. But let's go with those first 3 games. Remember, we'll be lucky if we're 4-3 at the bye. Right. And then you have gasp, Minnesota and Philly and Washington. And you know what? It doesn't exactly look like Murderer's Row right now, man.
Not anymore. No. I mean, when you see the way Philadelphia has played at times, they played really well on Sunday, going deep a little bit more. Thank you, A.J. Brown, for coming through on the fantasy team. And then you've got Minnesota with Carson Wentz looked completely lost against Philadelphia at times, threw into some really bad coverages. And Washington without Jaden Daniels, and even with Jaden Daniels, hasn't looked like Washington of a year.
Not at all. Right? Not at all.
So when you think about that, I wanted to ask you this question. The teams that you watched a year ago and were impressed with, who of that list now impresses you by your eyeball test this year?
Kansas City doesn't count because they turn it on and off so much the last few years. How many times have they been count? So I'm just going to put them over there. All right. I mean, I don't know if you agree with that. They just don't count. They're just in a different league by themselves. They always seem to get themselves right. I still think Philly's legitimate. I really do. I think Philly's legitimate.
I'm asking you, of the teams that you were impressed with last year.
All right.
How have those teams impressed you this year? Like Buffalo has not. I mean, I like Buffalo. No. It was a Super Bowl, but they don't look impressive. Philly has had at least 2 games where they haven't looked impressive.
Right.
Okay. For me, it's Tampa, it's the Rams, it's the Packers. Not Houston hasn't done it. Obviously, Baltimore hasn't done it. Denver hasn't done it. Sure, 33 points in the fourth quarter, but they did it against what many people would consider a bad team. All right. So the Chargers haven't. Those are the teams that we looked at last year and said, man, those teams are pretty good. Chargers won 11 games last year. You don't look at them right now and go, that's the same team. Detroit is one of the few teams. I was thinking about this morning. One of the few teams that I looked at last year and I was like, holy shit, are they good? And same thing this year. There's very few other teams you can say that about.
And I'll go back. Shep, KC's going to be okay. You know it. I mean, I've seen it way too many times now, and they're doing it again right now. They're doing it again, and I don't know how because I watched them the first few weeks. And what's the old adage? I know our mutual friend Killer always used to say that when you got one foot out the door, you may as well go fully out the door. You know how many times? And Kelsey was a guy that heard the whispers and almost retired last year. And the first few weeks of the year, he looked like garbage, Shep. He really did. And then of course, against the Lions, you're like, okay, now, yeah, I remember this guy. But Casey doesn't count. I've seen that so many times in the last few years. But no, you're right. And Baltimore has no defense. And who knows when Lamar's going to be back. So that's a good
Derrick
point.
Henry doesn't look good. Philadelphia, there's all kinds of question marks with the infighting that happened 3 weeks ago. Saquon Barkley has not rushed for 100 yards in any game so far this year.
Isn't that crazy?
People feel like Jalen Hurts can't throw downfield. I'm not one of them. I'm just saying that's what people are saying. You weren't even impressed with Dallas last year, so you can't be impressed so far this year. I'm talking about the teams that made you stand up and go, that team's pretty damn good. And now this year you're doing the same thing. It's very few. Because Seattle you weren't impressed with last year.
No.
Now under Sam Darnold you are, right? That might be the best division in football. So I could see the Rams, San Francisco you weren't impressed with last year. So I think it's the Rams, I think it's Tampa, and I think it's Detroit. I think those are the only 3 teams that I could put into that category.
Seattle only when they played us, because like Geno turned into Geno Mahomes every time he played us. It's just, who is this? What are you doing? That guy lit us up every time. Tom says, good evening in London, Ontario. Escanaba checking in with Jason.
Nice.
L-Town checking in. Tim Sid, an L-Town legend. Austin said, we don't need a defensive end. Brad is right. First game with Leak, Hutchinson, and Mack, and they were
that is so good. That is so good. I don't know if it's right because you're an injury away from needing one, but as of right now, and by the way, you don't even bring in guys like Derek Barnes, who gets home. Okay, now he's a linebacker, but still he could be considered an edge rusher. Everybody was calling for it. I'm guilty. All right, I didn't say the guy's name of whose name I should not mention, Zadarius Smith.
I did,
but I wanted somebody. Okay, we were looking at why not bring in this guy? Why not bring in that guy? Right? All these different quote unquote solutions. Now you don't feel that way. Let me ask you this. If fork to nose, your favorite saying, would you want a cornerback right now?
Yes.
Considering you've seen the depth?
Yes.
So would I.
Yep.
So would I.
Yep. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. Baker last night sounded like a whiny bitch. Jared Goff handled the officiating versus Kansas City better. It was a bad night for the Stripes again. That no other way to say that. It was a bad night for the Stripes. And I forget the guy's name. Shep, you're better with broadcast names and whoever the director of official guy was last night in the broadcast. I don't know who it was. I apologize. Okay. He legitimately got everything wrong. It was like a running gag. My buddies and I were like texting each other going, he got it wrong again. He got it wrong again. Every call that got, all right, well, let's check up with our rules expert. He legitimately got everyone wrong. Shep, it was a dumpster fire last night. It really was.
Yeah, I don't remember being part of that text and texting you back. But hopefully I'll get on that buddy list. I agree, but I think the refs had a rough night for both teams.
Agreed.
I think Cade Otton got the first down. I mean, that's just my opinion. I thought there were some. You and I both know referees are going to miss calls.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching the Kansas City game, just waiting. My son and I are looking at the TV, just looking at each other and going, "When's it coming?" And we counted, I don't know, 4 or 5 more that the opposing team, in this case the Raiders, would be complaining about. I can understand if Sam Laporta had that catch and reached out the way he did, without his knee, without his shin, without his arm, without his elbow, not hitting the ground, I would have wanted the first down. I would have said, you know what? They got screwed.
Yeah, no doubt. Austin said, I know it's a victory Monday, but Dylan Larkin career year loading wings are on a heater. It goes so much beyond the points. I swear to God, I was talking about this a few days ago before he lit it up. Mm-hmm. It goes so much beyond the points. And I'm not trying to be hockey snob when I see that. Okay. You watch a guy lead by example. You watch a guy go out there with the engine and say, boys, we're not going down this road. And it goes back to what McClellan said. And Shep, I said it last week. If multiple coaches in a row keep saying the same thing, okay? Mm-hmm. Soon. Okay, when is soon? Soon is now. And you have to play like it. And you know what? They've played like it. Listen, I'm going to tell you, are they playing over their heads right now? Probably, but maybe not. You know, I mean, maybe that youthful burst. Yeah, maybe that youthful burst finally gave the kick in the can that this team is desperately needed for a few years now.
So a good friend of mine who talks a lot of hockey and knows hockey, even though I don't text him very often, did say this to me not too long ago. He's
Mhm.
like, they've got to play harder on the puck. You've
Mhm.
got to be harder to play against. And when you told me that, I was like, exactly. Well, you know what? They're harder to play against. Now, it didn't look like it opening night, but I didn't freak out when the Lions lost opening day in Green Bay. And I sure didn't freak out when the Red Wings lost to Montreal on opening night either. There's going to be ups and there's going to be downs at certain times, but I think some of those younger players, I can't say all of them, all right, but I think some of those younger players have done exactly what you thought they needed, and that is a tougher team to play against. That doesn't always mean that they're going to score more goals or win, but when another team plays against them, they're going to recognize it's a different team this year, and it looks good. I mean, they're fun to watch.
I say it all the time. Mike Babcock had a great toughness is a choice. It is 100% a choice. You either make the choice or you don't. Like oh, that guy's tough. Well, that guy's tough because he wants to be tough.
Correct.
Okay. And I'm not saying, Shep, when I say toughness, I hope you know I'm not going the 80s where, okay,
No.
I got to drop the mitts with Proby, knowing I'm going to get my face caved in. I'm talking about doing those little things, winning that battle in the corner, winning those battles in the neutral zone, doing all those little things and just saying, I am going to give you 70 seconds of hell on this shift. Like there's no breather. I'm coming at you every opportunity I get. And I think a lot of guys needed to make that choice on this roster. I really do.
Jeff Blashill once told me when I was covering a game down there, he said, I said, what do you like about your team? This was early in his tenure. He said, our gas level is high. And I said, what do you mean by gas level? He goes, our give a shit level.
Yeah.
It matters to our guys.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't mean we're always this team's gas level looks like it's high. Now, it's not just because they've won 5 in a row. It's because of how they are playing. And there are certain people you and I trust and believe in, right? Certain players over the past, but certain coaches. The reason I trust so much about where the Lions are headed is because of their coaches, primarily their head coach. And the reason I like the way the Red Wings are playing, and I think how they can continue to play like this, which doesn't mean they're a playoff team, just means they can continue this stuff, is because the guy behind the bench. I think he's a good coach. I really do. Like, I think right now in our town, I think we have 4 very, very good, dare I say, and I don't like to overuse the word great, very, very good coaches. It would be hard for you and I to pick out which coach is the best.
I would agree with that. I think you could put 2 of them in the pantheon of the best in their respective leagues too. I really, truly do.
So that would be Campbell and Hinch.
Yes. Okay. Those would be the 2. Yep.
Okay. I'm not going to disagree with that, although Campbell hasn't got to the NFC Championship game and AJ hasn't got to the ALCS with this.
Just that one time Campbell did when they lost to Frisco.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. When they lost in Frisco. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, stop.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're ready to take charge of your financial future, look no further than the Wealth Advantage Group, located in historic downtown Northville, owned by those 2 cats right there. Over 20 years of industry experience. They understand your financial goals are as unique as you are. Great guys. They know that no 2 paths are different. Where I'm at in life, where Shep's at in life, where you're at in life, 3 different places. They work with clients throughout all stages of life. They have clients in over 20 different states. The investment world is a complex one. And if you're ready to start taking your finances more seriously, it's time to work with the experts. Reach out to the Wealth Advantage Group at 248-773-8574. Check out their website, www.thewealthadv.com. Shep, I got to tell you,
we get to a few people in the chat because I think it's something that's interesting. So Kool-Aid, 1957.
Hi, Kool-Aid.
Hi, Kool-Aid. He said, is 13-4 or 14-3 completely possible? I picked 13-4 before the year. So I'm going to say yes.
I went 12-5, and I have to rethink that now. And I'm very serious when I say that. Yeah.
Because I think, again, like you said, that's why it's kind of futile to play the schedule game. Everybody does it, but there are so many things that can play a factor in. Baltimore losing Lamar Jackson for a period of time, Cincinnati losing Joe Burrow. Who would have thought, right? Who would have thought Daniel Jones would be playing the way the Colts has? So I think it's completely possible. Austin says Colts are fool's gold. Not sure why. Seattle is cute. No, Seattle's more than cute. Seattle's a good team. And I think they got a really good coach. Mike McDonald's a good coach. Jacksonville, you can't trust. No way. It's the Chiefs and the AFC to lose, but their defense is meh. I don't disagree with that. Lions are the team to beat in the NFC, in my humble opinion. I don't disagree with you there, but I would not count out Green Bay, nor would I count out Tampa or the Rams. And the reason I say the Rams is because, first of all, their defensive line is really freaking good. And they may be 37, but number 9 can spin it as well as anybody in football.
Such a good quarterback. I don't care.
Did you watch him Sunday morning? You were. I know you were.
Shep, he is such a good quarterback.
He's so good.
He really is. I get it. He's not ours anymore, and we'll all take that deal. Okay, we will all take that deal.
Sure.
I'm not saying I want to redo or anything like that,
Sure.
but both things can be true. I'm happy with the deal, with the picks, and what the Lions did with the picks.
Mm-hmm.
And Matthew Stafford's just so darn good. He really is.
I love watching him throw the football. I mean, when you have, like, Kurt Warner did that game with Rich Eisen Sunday morning. And when Kurt Warner, who's a Hall of Famer and could throw it, right, and greatest show on turf and all that, when he's in awe, when you have ex-players who are in the booth saying things like that about that guy, you know damn well he's still pretty damn good.
Yep.
And he's 37, and he doesn't look like there's any extra effort. It's a flick of the wrist for him just to toss it 45 yards downfield on a rope. It's amazing.
Oh, good evening from Oceanside, California.
Yeah, how about that? That's cool.
Boy, is that beautiful. San Diego area is all that, Shep. I'm a big fan. I really am. I'm a big. You can take the rest of California and flush it down the toilet, but
it's because of your money, though.
Well, that's exactly it.
$2 million in a home. I mean, obviously, when you're Oceanside, California, I mean, that's you. That's big money.
You can come get the saplings. You have carte blanche. There are money tree saplings in that backyard. You know where I live. You drive over, okay? Lauren just cleaned out the 50 tree. Every time she comes home, it's, hey, I just planted a fresh new 50 tree, and it's all gone.
All I know is this. I got a call today from my wife and daughter. Hey, the shower's broken. Okay, I'll be home in a little bit. Where are you? We're shopping. Oh. It's interesting.
Oh, boy.
Power's broken. Water's running.
Oh,
and you're out shopping.
Tom, look what Tom put up.
Right.
It's time to call the Wealth Advantage Group, Shep. I think we both need to make that phone call. Okay.
I'm going to lift my shirt up and it's going to say help.
Yeah. Jack Campbell is becoming a star. We hit on that earlier. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. No doubt.
Austin says you trust Darnold more than I do, Shep. Look, I understand why people didn't trust Sam Darnold, and I'm not saying 1 year should convince you. He was really good last year. He's been really good this year. I'm not saying he's a top 10 quarterback. I'm not saying I'd take him over Jared Goff, or Matthew Stafford, or Patrick Mahomes, or Lamar Jackson, or Josh Allen, or anybody like that. I like Seattle's defense a lot. Jackson Smith and Jigga is really flipping good. Kenneth Walker III, when healthy, is really good. And Sam Darnold doesn't make bad mistakes. I mean, he throws the ball and he manages the game. And I hate that word sometimes, but I watched him over the weekend. I thought he was really good. Or last night, I should say. I thought he was really good.
Alan asked, now that it's Michigan State this week, what do you expect? What should each team do to win? I'm the wrong person to ask that question to.
It'll be high scoring.
Yeah, it's going to be high scoring in one way.
No, I don't think so.
Defense is. I've seen bad defenses. I'll put this defense up against anybody. This defense is awful.
Sean, I agree with you. I think Michigan is going to score almost every time they touch the ball. Michigan State in their first couple of drives and a few things last week, and I know it's a low bar. I get it. But it is Indiana, the number 2 ranked team in the country. I thought they did some things pretty well. I think some of their offensive schemes this year have been pretty good. I think they're going to be able to score against Michigan. I'm not saying they're going to be scoring enough, but I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Yeah.
Shep, Kevin brings up Jamison Williams was eerily quiet last night. Eerily quiet. And I know they didn't look a lot his way. I think it was 2 targets. Yeah. But Jamison Williams got his bag. Stop complaining about his role in the offense. Last time I checked, the Lions won the game last night. What do you attribute the lack of looks and touches his way? Are we reading too much into it?
No, but I attribute it to coverage.
Okay.
I attribute it to teams everybody knows, what he brings to the proverbial table. But I think based on, the offense that they run and the coverages that they see, and Tampa plays a lot of zone. And I thought that was a perfect night. I thought Jared tweeted this out. I think Jared Goff's going to pick him apart. And I think it's going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta. I think games like that are made for those guys who can settle down in zones and things of that nature. And I just think that's how their offense runs. I'm not worried about Jameson Williams. I don't think he's pouting. I don't think he pouted before. And I don't think just because he got a lot of money and they're not going his way, I mean, how much is that is his fault? We say this all the time. There's only one football to go around, and there's a lot of mouths to feed at the Lions football table, right? Are you upset that they went to Jahmyr Gibbs and he had 218 total yards or 238 total? Are you upset that Amon-Ra St. Brown was targeted? I wasn't. I don't think Jameson Williams is. I'm sure he'll get plenty of targets against Minnesota. It just happened to be the way Tampa plays their defense. I think a lot of it has to do with the looks that Jared Goff was given and the opportunities that went elsewhere. That's all.
Shep, I want to get back to that run last night, the Gibbs run, because my brain flashed back to 14 years ago. Let me tell you about All About Catering LLC first. Full service caterer. Rick and his staff can do anything: graduations, weddings, bridal showers, corporate events, anything that you need catering for, from 25 to 4,000 people. All About Catering can and will take care of you. Customer service and satisfaction is their number one goal. So do not sweat your next big event. Just go to allaboutcateringllc.com today. Check out their menus, their 5-star reviews, or give them a call, 586-731-1398, to get your event started. Shep, so Jahvid Best, you remember the Jahvid Best touchdown run on Monday Night Football? I don't know. I was actually a fan that game. I was sitting in the stands that game, and I'll never forget. There was like one of those noises that, like, the decibels were too high that it legitimately hurt your ears. And I wasn't in the building last night, but I legitimately, Shep, that was the first thing that I thought of is that, and Jahvid Best, what might have been concussion, et cetera, et cetera. This kid's special. Somehow, as you're talking about it, I always make the joke, the have it your way offense. It's like, okay, well, do you want to sample this? Do you want to sample that? That kid's special. That Jahmyr Gibbs is special. And I think he showed the nation last night.
Yeah, I love that he's a dual threat back. I love he's Christian McCaffrey. I love he's Marshall Faulk. He's Roger Craig of our era. I think that's the whole thing. It's not just his speed, but he runs hard. He's got incredible vision. When the greatest running back of all time, Barry Sanders, is talking about you in glowing fashion, because it's tough to impress athletes, damn well that kid has turned that proverbial corner. I don't think it means necessarily that David Montgomery's out. I think that's ridiculous. I think it's a great 1-2 punch. You're going to feed the hot hand. You're supposed to do that. I mean, when basketball players are making shot after shot, are you looking off them or are you giving them the basketball more often? When a guy is shooting and everything seems to be right on target in hockey, are you not doing that? When a guy's on a good run in baseball and he's seeing just about everything and he's hitting 6 for his last 8, are you trying to get him more at bats and put him at the top of the lineup, or you're sitting him down to give a day off so he can cool off? I think you want to keep feeding him, and that's a big reason why a guy like Jameson Williams wasn't targeted, because you got Jahmyr Gibbs slicing and dicing up that Tampa defense. You got to keep feeding that beast, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. Okay, I know what Kevin was saying. I did not see this, so I apologize.
I didn't either, but I'm glad he put it in there.
Yeah, Lions Jameson Williams post crying Jordan meme in IG photo after 0 catches versus the Bucks. So he, I guess that's what it was. Evidently his face in the Jordan, the crying Jordan. He superimposed it on his face.
What do you read into that?
I don't know. Maybe he's having fun with it. I don't know. He doesn't seem like that guy. So no. Maybe Shep, I'm more apt to give him a little more, but I mean, I'm not going to blame anybody for reading into it what they may. That's the unfortunate thing when you do something like that, right?
Yeah, and it would make him look really bad if he's doing that after a victory. Okay, so look, what did Saquon Barkley say the other day? After Philadelphia won in Minnesota and he didn't rush for 100 yards, he was asked constantly about that. He says, look, you guys, I hate to tell you this, but I mean, it's a team game. All I care about is winning.
Yep.
Okay. I don't care about how many yards I get. I want to win. And that's what we're doing right now. Now, maybe he's just saying the right thing because he's a pro, but still, you would hope that is the mindset of just about everybody. And I hope that's the mindset of Jamison Williams. I would remind people of the guy who runs this football team. Dan Campbell won't allow anything other than that.
No, sir.
Okay. Now he lets guys be themselves, but the hint of selfishness creeps in. Dan Campbell will be on it.
Yep.
And he'll set them straight. And if he doesn't, Amon-Ra St. Brown will set him straight. Penei Sewell will set him straight. Aiden Hutchinson will set him straight. That's not going to be a problem.
That image of Penei Sewell running downfield in front of Jahmyr Gibbs reminded me so much of Bobby Boucher and the Waterboy. Remember when they slow it down and Lee Corso goes, "Who?" Like that. I would poop myself. I'm just telling you right now. I'm some 210-pound defensive back, and you see that bear running down the field at full speed, I would poop myself and lay down. I'm just telling you, that's exactly what happened to me. But that's just one man. Maybe that's why I'm not in the NFL.
I agree. I might just poop myself and run right up the tunnel.
I'm done.
I'll be right back.
Michigan State football program is grim at the moment. I feel for my Spartan friends. I heard someone suggest today that Jonathan Smith should punch Sharon in the face pregame to prove that he remotely cares. Gibbs
what do you think about that situation?
I really liked him, Shep. I had a chance. I talked to him on the air, and then I talked to him in person. And I think he is a very good man. I don't think this was a good fit for him 2 years later. I don't. Shep, I can't quite put my finger on it. I know that there's some buzz up there like that maybe he didn't know what he was getting into, which I find that hard.
How do you not know that?
I find that hard to believe because this is a guy that, Shep, the thing that I liked about him the most is he knew what it was like to play under the shadow of the big brother. He played at Oregon State under that Oregon shadow. He coached at Oregon State under that big boy shadow. I don't think he's a fit here. I don't. And I think it's a myriad of reasons. I don't think that maybe he knows what to recruit here. I really don't, because they are woefully thin. Like a couple of years in, how can you be that woefully thin at so many different spots? Yeah. And you know what? Honestly, I think this conference is more of a buzzsaw than it has been in a long, long time. And I don't know if he expected that. That's just one man's opinion. I could be wrong, but I don't think it's a fit. I don't think it's a fit. And I'm that bothers me because I really liked him. The couple times that I talked to him, I really liked him, Shep.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good fit. There was some slight concern for him, for me, when I think when Alan Haller left or was let go, the buyout for Jonathan Smith was cut in half, I believe. Mm-hmm. So that's always a bit of a problem. My favorite saying to people who think he's gone, and I spent some time with some good Spartan friends of mine last night, and I said, then who? That's all. Because I thought Fickle was going to be a good coach at Wisconsin, and I was wrong. All right. Then who? If not Jonathan Smith, just tell me who. Because you got to have an idea, okay? Because somebody's got to fit that bill. Who would it be?
Shep, it's so funny because let's be honest, okay? I don't care nobody was having a parade over the fact that Michigan State decided to hire some guy named Mark D'Antonio. Nobody did. Nobody. Trust me. Nobody did.
Nobody knew.
And you know what? I'll take it. 62-year-old Kurt Signetti. I'm sure hey, this is the guy. This is the guy that we were waiting for. This is Coach Mallory all over again, right. And like nobody. Like, honest to God, I think at programs like this, you have to have a little bit of that, and there's no way you can quantify this. You pure sheer luck. Okay, good fit at the right time at the right place. What his mindsets, his ideals line up with what you want to do, and that's why I go back to that. That's why I liked Smith. When I talked to Smith and he talked about that Oregon State, Oregon thing and everything, and I was like, yeah, okay, this guy gets it. This guy gets it. And there's been very little follow through, unfortunately. You know?
How much of that do you believe? How much of it has to do with the NIL or the lack thereof, the necessary funding at MSU? I think he's got a buyout, by the way, of about 33 million.
Yeah, yeah.
Does that sound right?
Unless he decides to go someplace else, and then he would owe, like, there was the speculation with UCLA. Well, now look at UCLA. Why would they do that? I mean, why wouldn't they keep these guys, right? This whole crew, and we get to look at Neuheisel's kid for the next 10 years. But enough. Stop it. He's not even the goddamn coach. Knock it off. But this is like Shep. That's what I'm looking at. Is this is a scenario where, okay, well, do you go with Jay Batt's guy down in Georgia Tech, who, again, Georgia Tech quietly having a really nice year and trying to get themselves into a position to get to the playoff, and I don't know. I don't have the answer to it. I really don't.
Because they have tried. Look, they were successful with the D'Antonio move from a smaller school to a bigger school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So would you do a Jason Candle at Toledo, who I think is a very good coach? Do you try and purge someone who's established and been a good coach at a bigger program like Matt Campbell, although that's a big buyout, right? Would the problem with what they're facing is that I believe there are 11 schools that have already fired their head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And that will dry up quickly. Florida, Penn State, maybe Mike Nolan's gone from Florida State. That could be a problem. So that would be there. In other words, there are other attractive options for some of those coaches who will be on those short lists. If you want to get on that short list, you're going to have to act quickly. And I'm not saying do it after the Michigan game or anything like that. I'm just saying they have to have a thought process. J-Bat has to have a thought process in order for something like that if they want to get the right person.
Can I ask you this? And I'm telling you point blank, I haven't watched them in person at all this year. I just know from my time down in Toledo, some people feel a little bit of that shine is coming off the Jason Candle star a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't know. I haven't watched him, Shep, so I just know some of my old chums down there are like, yeah, this guy was the next big thing, and unfortunately, the Rockets have been exposed in a certain regard this year because
it's difficult, Sean.
Big coach, right?
Yeah, but it's difficult. Look, they quickly forgot that he beat Pittsburgh last year in a bowl game. It's hard in the mid-major level to be really consistent today.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom Amstutz, who and
Toledo,
and I knew, Toledo Tom, when he was dominating the Mid-American Conference, they were doing it against teams that, you didn't have to worry about the NIL. You didn't have to worry about a lot of the other stuff that they're worried about right now. I think it's a different cat when it comes to the Mid-American Conference, especially with mid-major teams with things like this.
I don't know what the future of a conference like this is, Shep, and I'm not even being funny.
I don't think it's good.
No, Shep, every time there's a good player, if you have a good sophomore, if you have a good junior, he's gone.
For sure.
That's just the way it is. He's gone. He's going to go someplace else. I mean, that's the reality of it. And it's too bad because I know you and I have been fans of this conference for a long time. And that's a shame to me. It really is.
I think part of the future, I worry about the conference for sure, but I worry about the other sports at the schools.
Mm-hmm.
Because what may happen, and this may happen across mid-major football programs across the board, is that you may not have enough money at all. You may want, I should say, you may get enough money and you're going to throw it all into your football program.
Right.
That keeps other programs within the school alive. But if you're not getting that money and you're not bringing in that money, how are the other schools' programs going to survive? At some point, there's going to be schools that are going to say, you know what, we're going to have a football program or not, because it's really expensive to run, which it is, but it also can bring in more money than anybody else. And that's the problem. The big schools don't have a problem with that because they can help out the other schools because they've got the multi-TV deal and all that other stuff. Well, guess what? Mid-major teams don't have that.
Yep. No doubt.
Unless you think a private equity company comes in and buys the conference.
It's unbelievable. Listen to what we're finding.
But
Pardon
that's
my
true.
language. Listen to what we're talking about. It's insane.
Yeah.
The coach at Boise, Spencer Danielson, would be interesting. Young, and he's gotten a lot of that team. What is he? 36, 37 years old. He's a young guy. He really is.
Can I give you another name? I don't think it would matter, but Eli Drunkowitz from Missouri.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Why would he leave the SEC for the Big Ten?
Yeah. Yep.
Just wondering. He's a good coach.
Yep. No doubt. All right, one more reading, then we get out of here. When it's time to get yourself a house, you're buying, you're selling, oftentimes both at the same time, you need to contact the right agent. Who do we recommend? We recommend that lady right there, Lindsay Broadwell. Your house is probably the biggest investment you'll ever make, and that's why you need a pro. Lindsay grew up on the mean streets of Northville. She's expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan. She's an expert in all facets of the business. And when it's time to move, Lindsay and her team will make sure you get the most out of your house and everything goes smoothly when finding your new home. Buyer, seller, even first-time buyer, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you contact Lindsay at BroadwellHomes.com. She'll help you with everything from start to close. Licensed realtor at Real Broker LLC. Start your search today at BroadwellHomes.com. Shep, always a pleasure. Check out Shep in the morning. Check out Shep with Braylon in the afternoon. We'll talk to you bright and early tomorrow morning as well. Any final thoughts before we go?
Have a good show tomorrow, buddy.
Thank you.
It's going to be awesome stuff. Somebody had mentioned in the chat. I think even Northwestern has more than 3 wins over. They got 3 wins this year.
Yeah. Seriously. Good. Don't you do that to me. 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 I don't need that in my life.
James Franklin.
Somebody was giving me a hassle yesterday. I kid you not, Shep. And they were like, because I made the comment, gosh, I'm going to miss James Franklin. And he goes, well, he sure got his fair share of wins against Michigan State. And I said, well, congratulations. You beat a poverty program the last, 5 years. That's pretty cool. And you still somehow found a way to go 5-5 against them with 4 of those wins in the last 5 poverty years.
See,
way to go, Jimmy.
Can I just say one thing? Andrew had it. He hit it. Okay. He hit the nail on the head. Call Pat Fitzgerald.
Would that be funny? Wouldn't that be funny?
Dude, he first of all, he's had success against Michigan, doesn't like Michigan, okay? Recruits the Midwest, tough as nails, okay? And proven winner. And he did it at Northwestern, which is a hell of a lot more difficult to win there than just about any other place, maybe in any Power 5 school. That's the call right there. And by the way, I know he's got his staff. He'll have his staff ready to go right away.
And he went to Northwestern, so he's a brainiac that could probably formulate a plan to make his own money tree so he could spend an NIL to help Jay Bat as well. So that's very important. Let's be honest.
Unless your daughter goes, nitpicking in his backyard.
Girl, jeez, oh, Pete. Hey, look, she's back there again, plucking more money.
She's got the flashlight on.
I am so declaring bankruptcy real soon because of that girl. Reason for declaring bankruptcy, my daughter.
Case dismissed. Have a great day.
See you guys. Bye.
Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Still Alive by Anti-Ghost. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257